Why so sad?
It's nothing.
Hey, seriously, what's up?
Some kid was making fun of me at school. Said my art sucked.
Wow, that's hard to believe. Your artwork is amazing. He must have never seen a whale before.
Yeah. He said it was just a stupid Indian drawing.
He's probably just jealous because he doesn't have your talent. This is a really hard style to master, and its teachings have been handed down for generations. It's how we keep our culture and identity alive. People are often scared of things they don't understand. Instead of trying to learn about someone, they prejudge you based on what they think they know.
But he was just so mean about it.
Let me show you something. Remember when Grandpa used to tell us about our connection to the land?
To respect the land and the people that share it with us. Yeah, I remember.
Right. Well, not everyone shares our views. And for the longest time, we have been told we are not part of this land at all.
But we've been connected to the land forever.
Not everyone believes that.
Wow! This is cool. What is it?
It's something I've been working on.
Why is there so much space before contact?
Because we were living here long before Europeans arrived.
Wow.
This is how it was on Turtle Island pre-contact. We lived in harmony with the land. This delicate balance allowed us to thrive for generations.
Look, a ship is landed. Why did that person put a flag there?
He's claiming this land for his country. European explorers believed this land was free for them to take, and they set up colonies to expand their empires. They did not consider the indigenous people that had lived here for tens of thousands of years. This is when colonialism started.
What's colonialism?
Well, colonialism is when a culture or country expands their power over another. They believe their way is the right way and will try to force other cultures to be like them.
That doesn't sound too good.
It's not. The colonizers want us to be exactly like them. They did not see us as equals. They treated us poorly and called us savages. They wanted us to abandon who we were and what we believed in. In particular, they wanted to disconnect us from the land because they wanted the resources it contained.
What's important about that year?
I'll show you.
It looks different but feels like home. What's that person reading?
He's reading a new declaration. He's telling the people that the land doesn't belong to them anymore. They have to relocate to an area that is chosen for them.
What? How do they get to decide that?
They thought they owned this land and all its resources. So they used force to make us move, which wasn't right. We were responsible for taking care of the land. The colonizers didn't understand this. They thought they were superior to us and didn't see any value in the way we lived our lives. What you're seeing is the beginning of the reserve system we still live with today.
Why are all those people celebrating?
Today marks the birth of Canada.
Where are all the indigenous people? I don't see any.
We weren't allowed to be here. At this time, we are still seen as inferior and not even considered human.
That's so unfair.
Unfortunately, that was the way a lot of people thought in those days.
What's happening now?
Politicians are approving the Indian Act. It's a law that tells us who we are, where we're supposed to live, and what we can and cannot do. It still exists today, but they never identified us as indigenous. They called us Indians and are still legally allowed to call us that.
But I thought Indians were from India. Man, did they ever get their geography wrong?
No kidding. History is written by the oppressors. There's more. Now the agents are creating a registry for those who are status Indians.
You mean this?
Yes, that card says you're an Indian in the government's eyes. It's how they keep track of your identity.
Pfft, they can't tell me who I am.
That's the kind of power the government had and continues to have over us. It was worse then. The Indian agents enforced the rules of the Indian Act. They treated us like children. We couldn't leave the reserve without their written permission.
Why is that person taking away the elder's drum?
It's sad and disturbing, I know. But at the height of their power, agents were able to control many aspects of our lives. Like our ceremonies, it was illegal for us to practice them. The government didn't want us to maintain our culture, only theirs.
That little boy didn't do anything wrong. Why is that man taking the child away?
They are taking him to a residential school. The government thought that if they had placed restrictions on our identity, we would abandon who we were and assimilate into Canadian culture. But it didn't work out the way they had planned. So the government thought it was easier to take the children away from their families and teach them what it was to be Canadian.
That's not right.
It's hard to watch, but that's what happened. They tried to erase our identity. Students would get punished for speaking their own language. It was a traumatic experience for everyone that went to residential school. That pain didn't end when they left either. It stayed for generations, and we're still feeling the effects today.
Why can't that person come in? It looked like he wanted to help them.
That's because back in the 1920s, it was illegal for us to band together. We couldn't use our resources, raise money, or hire lawyers to defend our rights in court.
They really didn't want us around, hey?
They did whatever they could to make us feel powerless. It wasn't just the government that was trying to chip away at us.
Wait, that kid was happy to see one of our people get shot. We aren't the bad guys.
No, we aren't. But this is the attitude that was being sold to the general public. While the government oppressed us and made us feel ashamed of who we were, popular culture reinforced it. Corporations use our images as mascots to brand their teams. They hide behind their racist logos and tell us they are honoring us.
I don't see any honor in what they're doing.
There isn't. What's worse is they're treating our identity as something that can be sold. This still happens today. This is where things start getting interesting. It's a time of political and social change. Protesters were fighting against oppression to gain equal rights for everyone. We were no different. The government made another attempt to create a national body and identity and tried to pass the White Paper. On one hand, it would get rid of the Indian Act, but it would also completely erase our distinction as Indigenous people.
Wow, there's so many of us united.
Yeah, I think the government realized just how powerful we are when we stand together.
Why does this door have a question mark?
Because this part is still being written. I know the racism you experienced was hurtful, but you should never feel alone. You can always find someone to turn to, whether it's me, our family, friends, or teachers. Always remember that we are a strong people. And even though the colonizers attempted to destroy our spirit, we kept our culture alive. Now it's up to us to decolonize and stand up against racism and say, no more.